What's up, guys? Spenny. Rob Reiner was killed by his son in his sleep. His kid slit his throat, along with his wife's throat. Now he's been arrested, and he has no bail. That's very rare, by the way, in LA. Effectively, an admission that we got the right person. We're not going to let them walk free. They're rich. There's a $4 million bail for Nick Reiner when the killer crept in. The gruesome murders, this was just all speculation yesterday. Was it a family member? How'd they die? Well, now we know. Rob Reiner and his wife were found in a pool of blood with their throats slit. They had been asleep and were murdered. The gruesome detail establishes a timeline of the killings. The 32-year-old troubled son has been arrested. The Reiners died on Saturday evening. Nick was acting erratically and arguing loudly with his parents at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party around 3:30 p.m. On Sunday. Their daughter called 911 having discovered their bloody bodies in the family Los Angeles mansion. He could have done it not long after they all went home, meaning he went there and slit their throats in the middle of the night. They were in bed when this happened. That's just awful. I mean, it's just demonic. It's terrible. One report suggests that Rob Reiner's wife, Michelle, was still alive when she was found, died in the ambulance on the way with the first responders. After she had told first responders that her son was the one who attacked them, the Los Angeles Police Department not officially confirmed the details. Claiming that the parents were found dead in their bed suggested small mercy of the tragedy of the incident. They may have been killed in their sleep. Jeez. So there you go. Here's Nick Reiner. He's a drug addict and an abuser and was homeless for a little while. TMZ reported that Reiner had a very loud argument with his son at Conan O'Brien's holiday bash on Saturday night, which the legendary movie director and his wife left. The partygoer told People magazine that Nick was freaking everybody out, acting crazy, and kept asking people if they were famous. It's weird. Fears of the Reiners' safety only raised when the masseuse arrived at their $3 million mansion in Brentwood. 2 p.m. the next day, got no answer at the door. 27-year-old daughter, who lives across the street, investigated and called when she found the horrific scenes. They'd been dead for a while. Nick is one of Reiner's 3 children. He's been living in the mansion guest house. LA Fire Department first responded. Nick was living in their guest house, the same one he destroyed more than once. He has been living like a revolving door all of his adult life. He would do meth and not sleep for days, have outbursts, break things, punch walls, ticking time bomb. Drug use was getting worse than his parents wanted him out, says a friend. Let's go ahead and check in on these friends to find out a cautionary tale about, young people, about your children, family members. If they're on drugs, if they're junkies, if they're users, there's something horribly wrong with them. And if they haven't truly recovered, then you need to be extremely cautious. Some of the worst and most untrustworthy, villainous liars on earth are habitual drug users who will do anything for their next hit. It also, of course, fries your brain. It gets rid of sympathetic and autosympathetic nervous system function, totally F's up all of your dopamine, serotonin regulation, kills your frontal lobe. You lose compassion. You lose reality with the world. This is why places like Venice Beach in California or Kensington in Philadelphia are just riddled with people with their pants around their ankles, standing like zombies. They're just totally disconnected with the planet. And they could commit horrible harms like slitting your throat in the middle of the night. Be extremely cautious. And then make sure you're raising your kids right. There's nothing, obviously, more valuable than having your own children, flesh of your own flesh, blood of your own blood, be upright. So that something like this can't happen. I mean, in the worst possible scenario. Troubled truth about little Nicky, Rob Reiner's friends reveal son's lifetime of red flags as he's arrested for violent murders. The dark past of Rob Reiner's son, Nick, after he's been arrested for the killings of his parents, family friends. Nick's strained relationship with his parents had been no secret in Hollywood. His father making a film about his son, the challenges they faced, primarily driven by Nick's struggles with drug addiction. His problems seemingly began long before adulthood. In a 2012 children's book, A Chair in the Air, about a difficult boy named Little Nicky, written by a family friend who was inspired by the unruly nature of the boy. Nick was an intense kid who screamed like the world was on fire, prompting his parents to have family therapy sessions inspiring a book about child behavioral problems. So when he heard on Sunday evening that Rob Reiner had been killed and knew exactly who did it, the angsty child became an adult with drug problems, rehab 18 times as of 2016, first going on his 15th birthday, rehab. So he's been using drugs just around the clock. You really got to ask the question of the parents there. You really have to. I don't want to victim blame here, but guys, this is what happens when you are not present and when you are not literally exercising the demons with your children in your life. This is the most important charge that you have as a parent. Nothing else matters. Not all the millions in the bank accounts or the red carpets or anything. Nothing matters if these kids turn into junkies, addicts, and killers. Nothing else matters. Because then that's on you. That's the purest reflection of who you are as a parent. Your children are an imprint of you. Not a one-to-one, but this is where true generational breaking and trauma comes from. Absent fathers, absent mothers. Also, if you're a meth user, geez, dude. 2016 drama began Being Charlie, directed by his father, focused on addiction and pain it causes families. He had clashes with his family throughout the years, as documented in the film. Portrays a young man who resents his father and mother for dealing with his addiction. They force him to spend time in rehab. Evidence of the years of clashes, the parents and the son, and it ended with an apology from the dad for the occasional unsympathetic way he treated his son. Reiner said in an interview afterwards that he owned and gave his apology to his son in real life. But Nick, unpredictably, and even aggression towards his family seemingly continued. In an episode of the Dopey podcast, he described the time that he destroyed his parents' guest house when he spun out on meth after being told to leave. What about when you wrecked our guest house on meth? Goodness. Okay, well, I got totally spun out on uppers. I think it was the coke or something else. I was up for days on end. I started punching different things in the guest house. I started with the TV and then went over to the lamp. Everything got wrecked. So why would you let this person live in your house? I mean, honestly. All right. So it looks like maybe he just took bad drugs. Right? I mean, wouldn't that make a lot of sense? That maybe he took drugs before going to some party and then just lost his mind. Nick would barge in like the world was on fire, screaming at our yoga sessions. He was disruptive. Recalling his behavior, he was really screaming. I've never seen a child like it. So what does that mean? I don't know, man. Demonic possession is real. That's all I can say. Tragic reason why Rob Reiner brought his son to Conan O'Brien's party just hours before allegedly murdered his parents. Yeah, if your kid's like this, why would you bring him to a party with all of your Hollywood friends? Rob Reiner brought his troubled son Nick to Conan O'Brien's party to keep an eye on him. Goodness. Less than a day before allegedly killed the director. Guests at the A-list holiday party said Nick displayed antisocial behavior. Staring at attendees, he told Reiner reportedly had a loud argument with him at the bash. Insiders told Rolling Stone that Reiner and his wife, Michelle, asked if they could bring Nick to the party out of concern for him. The party sources told People that Nick was acting crazy, kept asking people if they were famous. Among the stars that he approached was comedian Bill Harder. A witness told NBC News Nick reportedly interrupted the former SNL comic, who then told him he was in a private conversation. The director's troubled son stood there and stared, the source said, before storming off, leaving the partygoers unnerved. TMZ first reported Nick attended Conan's star-studded party with his parents before they were found dead. The outlet said that in recent months, Reiner had struggled to handle his mental health issues. Goodness. So you have to bring your 32-year-old son to babysit him. Some people are sharing this photo of allegedly Nick Reiner being homeless. Here he is with his sister. The truth about what drove his son to snap. A motive and grisly details. Ticking time bomb. Nick Reiner was a ticking time bomb whose drug use spiraled out of control when parents kicked him out of his house. He became erratic and frightening. His behavior, he should have had the kid locked up in a mental institution, quite frankly, to get clean, right, and get some tests done. He'd been living in the guest house. He destroyed it. He would then go do meth. and destroy the drug house. He was a ticking time bomb. The drug use was getting worse. His parents wanted him out. And he would brag about how he could get away with anything and took money from his parents to use for drugs and prostitutes. Who's that remind you of? Like Hunter Biden's story. He would talk about this stuff in meetings, and then he stopped going because he said it was too cultish. The rehab meetings. He kept saying that he hadn't touched heroin, that he could handle weed, but that he turned to meth, saying he was up for days and not eating. He really had no control. So there you go. Stop enabling your junkie kids, right? And then what happened was he probably, he was embarrassed at some party, right? He loses his mind. He's already on drugs. He goes to a party. He gets embarrassed by a bunch of like Hollywood celebrities. His dad screams at him to like behave. That embarrasses him even more. Then he sits in a quiet, stewing rage and decides again to go back into his pool house, do more meth, and then go kill the source of all of his problems he saw as his parents. Another weird thing, the Obamas planned to meet with Rob Reiner the night that they were killed. Jeez, Michelle Obama said this. What the hell is that? The Obama planned to meet with Rob Reiner the night the couple was killed. Libs. Here's Nick Reiner being arrested. Looks like him on the ground there. These headlines are just awful. Inside Nick Reiner's fight at Conan O'Brien Christmas party that left his parents terrified before the murders. Too bad. Drug addict son. Terrified partygoers. The trio ended up in a very loud argument because Nick was back on drugs, refusing to go to treatment, and was freaking everybody out, acting crazy. He was brought there in order to be babysat by his parents. 32-year-old needing to be babysat. Parents, raise your kids. Focus on your children. Do not let this become them. Nothing in your career is more important than not having this life or lack thereof, right? Jeez, what a mess. Okay. The Obamas making it about themselves. They're supposed to look at the Obamas. Oh, back in the news. Yeah. Anyway. Goodness gracious. So he's got a lawyer now, but yeah. You're gonna have a tough go, man. Defense attorney Alan Jackson arrives at Nick Reiner's hearing. Okay. The Obama elements were definitely weird. Nobody deserves to die like this. Be good parents. Lock in for your kids' lives. Spend time with your kids. Literally, sounds like this kid's had a was really off their rocker. People used to say demon possession, exorcism. I don't know what it is, but you can't let that kind of stuff continue. You've got to make sure your kids are locked in from a young age and are developing correctly. Otherwise, these kind of things are going to spiral wildly out of control. You know, it's funny. The same stories were told about Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden as a kid, as a little dickhead, right? He was like a little jerk as a kid. He was always like a little rotten apple, rotten kid. Before his 18th birthday, he was getting arrested for drugs. Same story. Same story. Anyway. It's awful and monstrous. Nothing else to say about it. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See ya.